I always really enjoy it when series like this one come along, because what's unique about a series like this is that you didn't know how much you needed it until you read it and go, that's what I was missing. And today, I think that's what the Quintessential Quintuplets has been for me. So, a bit more than just a traditional, really short manga first impression. I have read almost the first 5 volumes, which I guess is fitting, obviously, seeing as our subject title of this video. But you can see I've got the first 5 volumes here. But the Quintessential Quintuplets is, I guess, what you would say a harem, like comedy, you know, fairly, in theory, a fairly comedy harem, like shonen manga. But it wasn't until literally I saw someone comment on the internet about Quintuplets being a harem manga that I was like, oh, I guess it kind of is. But it didn't even cross my mind at the time, and that's why I think it makes it different. And so, the Quintessential Quintuplets is essentially about a group of 5 girls that are very stupid as far as school goes. And now this is something I appreciated personally because I was awful in school. Math, science, reading. I'm very dyslexic. It was not a great time for me. And so, but I mean, I was good at real world things, but school just never came easy. So I think you can easily call all of these girls idiots, but they're not dumb. They're just in certain subjects they really struggle in, or certain kinds of things, or just the way school is in general. So I found that interesting. But the story revolves around our main character, and he is a study bug. His family is really poor, and his father hooks him up one day with, you know, this job to teach, you know, this new girl in school. And come to find out, it's these very unique, very personality-driven quintuplets. And so the story runs from there, and the story pretty much just evolves into, slowly it seemed like, but it evolves into like a harem, but doesn't ever really feel like it. And so slowly but surely, usually, so far anyway, all the girls get some sort of connection to our main character in some way, and it all feels so natural and real. The story's funny, all the characters are very diverse and interesting. Like, you gotta love all the girls. Like, the girls really drive the story really well. Things maybe were a little bit more cliched than usual. Like, there's a running storyline about how he's either met one or all of them in the past. When he was younger, he used to have a different past, maybe a bit more of a delinquent himself, that delinquent trope. So there are tropes in this manga, but it just feels different. Like, the girls and the story feel more natural. It's not some weird, all these girls match. Like, it just feels so natural. You know, guy, there's quintuplets, and he's gonna tutor them all. They all hate school. They don't really want to learn, but they're all really different. So you get this really wholesome, you know, learning all of them and their differences and how they learn. And that story alone is interesting, but then you take in and you put the love aspect in it, and that's where the story really starts to become, I don't know if you'd say harem-esque, but there's obviously, you've got 5 girls and 1 guy, so I mean, presumably, I don't think all the girls have necessarily shown interest in him yet, but they do. And the one nice thing, the very, very nice thing, which I hope stays the same, and maybe they'll throw some curveball in by the time the story ends, but the story starts out with the premise that he marries one of these girls. And so right from the get-go, you're like, you're not going to get cock-blocked, or you're not going to get teased, there's not going to be some really unsatisfactory ending that almost every harem ever ends up with. Like, you're going to have these girls, and one of them, for lack of a better word, is going to win, but no, 2 of them, they're going to fall in love, and they're going to have, you know, an actual relationship and get married. Now, it'll be really interesting to see, because this is where, like, almost every harem manga I've ever read falls short, and it's just that, first of all, half the time they don't ever pick one, and then you just get really unsatisfactory because nobody wins, and you're just mad, because, like, you didn't even pick anyone, the story sucks. But the other problem is just going to be, who does he pick, and does it make sense and do fans like it? Because that's the problem you're always going to run into with a series like this, is that we've got all these girls and they're all unique, and everyone's going to have a different preference just based on, they're going to project themselves into the story. So they're just going to put a preference onto who they like the most. I mean, I know I have a favorite. I knew Miku, like right away, was cemented herself as probably my favorite. I think the only place the story could really potentially fall flat is just that so far, there's only like maybe 3 of the girls, to me, that make any sense. For him to end up with, and so if the story wants to make it believable to me that he might end up with any of them, it's going to need to convince me that, you know, all of the girls were even in the running. Because right now, I only look at maybe 2 of them as top runners, 3 of them in the picture, and 2 of them were just in the story. Will they get more pop? Will they get more spotlight? And will I think, yeah, it makes sense that they might end up with him, or at the end of the story that they will end up with him? I think that'll be interesting to see if they can do that right, because I think that's so incredibly hard to do with harem manga like this, just because, man, let's face it, someone's gonna be mad. Someone's not gonna be happy at the end of the day with whoever he ends up with, as long as the story's telling the truth and the fact that, hey, he's gonna get married, he's gonna be with one of them, and we're gonna live happily ever after, and everyone's gonna like it. And so that'll never happen. No one will ever always be happy, but I just hope that the story makes sense. And then there's a conclusion. I want there to be a conclusion, because the other nice thing I've heard is that the story is ending in 12 or 14 volumes. I can't remember which. I just happened to see that online when I first picked up the series. And so that's like, okay. It's not going to drag it out. A lot of these series, like a story that I really enjoyed reading and I really had a lot of fun with, was My Monster Secret. You know, same kind of thing, lots of girls, they're in school, but the premise is, you know, monsters, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But my problem with that is we're now into like volume like 15, 16, 17, and it's dragging a bit. I don't really know where the story's going. I want a bit more relationship progression, but that's not really happening. And so I think it's a really good thing that a story like this isn't going to drag that out and is going to end it at, like, you know, that 12, 14 volume range. I think is a really good spot for it to be. Even though I love the story and I want to be with these girls forever, you think you want it to go on forever until you get to volume 22 and you're just like, alright, here we go on some other weird side quest that has nothing to do with the plot. So anyway, Quintessential Quintuplets, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. Breath of fresh air. Didn't even feel like a harem manga. I mean, I would consider it, I guess, a harem manga, even though in my head, like, I don't really put it anywhere in that realm. Technically, I mean, I think it is or is going to be, but it's super refreshing. All the girls are really nice. I like the main character. The main character isn't adult. He isn't an idiot. He isn't super annoying. We'll see if he's going to get to that point where he's not recognizing at all that the girls like him. That'll be interesting, because those characters are always annoying. But so far, the main character's not annoying. I like him. He actually has some character personality. Most of the characters in these harem manga are copy and paste, cookie cutter, boring shits. But I like it. It's really good, and I would actually highly recommend you read it. The art is fantastic as well. I didn't even talk about that much, but the art is really good and really well drawn. But anyway, I would give Quince a 5. You get it? 5. So if you weren't gone already, leave a like if you liked it, subscribe, share. I don't know. I've never done that when a YouTuber has asked me to do it, so I don't know if it's even worth saying, but I'll say it and do it if you want to do it. Anyway, guys, I've been Fiddle Ferret. I hope you guys are having had a great New Year's and holiday and all that kind of thing, but I will see you back on the prowl next time. Bye!